Welcome to the Realty Plus Real Talk series, where we talk to industry experts for their honest views and opinions and real facts and figures. And friends, today we have with us Mr. C. N. Govindaraju, who's the founder and MD of Vaishnavi Group, which is more than a 23-year-old real estate firm based in Bengaluru. And let me tell you, this is one of those developer firms which has kept in sync with changing times. So we have with us Mr. C. N. Govindaraju, and let's ask directly from him how things are. Mr. Govindaraju, a very warm
Yeah,
welcome
hello,
and,
hello.
and thanks for being here with us.
Hello. Good afternoon, Sapna. It's always a pleasure to kind of interact with your, entity, Reality Plus. We have associated with you for more than a decade, working closely with you all. It's always been a pleasure to kind of participate, in such interactive sessions to
Right.
know much about the real estate sector in southern part of the country, and we are fairly active in Bangalore city.
Right.
Uh,
So that is
yeah.
why, first of all, I would like to ask you, about the most talked about topic of current times, the budget that was just recently introduced. What are your views about the budget? A lot of people are saying it is well balanced, it is not populist. What are your views on that?
I think let me restrict myself to the real estate segment. If saying so, it is very disappointing. It is
Okay.
very disappointing as far as the real estate. The government has really not considered real estate seriously in this budget. Post demonetization, the sector has been into a lot of stress because of the changing time, demonetization, the GST came in, the RERA came in, and now the Corona kicked in. So the government should have been little more, kind of consciously, supportive to this sector, which went through a lot of stress. The only one good thing what they did was, trying to bring down the rate of interest on the retail home loans, and also extending the tenure and the eligibility criteria of the home buyer. These were the two good things which the government has done, which definitely is helping the real estate recovery from the third quarter 2021 onwards. There has been a good amount of sales, happening in across all cities of southern part of India.
You rightly mentioned there were no direct incentives or direct reliefs that a lot of the sector was expecting, because the kind of multiplier effect real estate can have on other industries. So, but do you see the indirect positive impact of the boost that infrastructure has got in terms of DFI and NIP pipeline, etc.? Do you see that
Yeah,
indirectly?
that will definitely help the infrastructure companies. That will help the steel industry, that will help the cement industry, the infra companies. But the real estate, housing per se, and the commercial buildings, which are extremely important to create, employment opportunities. That the world is right now looking at India very seriously. So there are a lot of job opportunities will be created, which kind of gives eligibility for a lot of home seekers, because our country has a lot of people, they don't own homes. Their first aspiration for them is to own a home. And then because of Corona, work from home, that really kicked off. But that I don't think is going to be a great factor. But people's aspiration is to own a home in our country. That is our culture. That's been our culture for long. Now, earlier there was no affordability. Now the affordability is kicking in, because with the economy of India, kind of getting into on a recovery mode, which definitely is going to create more jobs. More jobs meaning, that we will also be busy in trying to build more homes for such eligible people.
I think it was a missed opportunity for the government here. Uh,
Yeah, they
that
should understand. Yeah, 9.5% we contribute to the GDP. It's not small.
Right, right. And what the government would have earned from property taxes and the stamp duty and the registration taxes if more people were to buy homes.
No, no, Maharashtra was, in fact, they took the first initiative. They just gave,
Yes.
exemption of a stamp duty. And I believe I was speaking to some of the financial institutions. I believe Q3 was the best year, I believe, the last one decade.
Right, right, right.
Q3 business for them was the best business in the last 1 decade.
Right,
I
right.
think other governments also should have taken that, but they think that if they kind of take away the stamp duty, it is going to impact their revenue, because there's a huge deficit in terms of the revenue after this corona kicked in. So the government is also under stress, so they are not keen to kind of take that particular decision.
Okay.
But anyway, I think the Bangalore market is on a recovery path. Sales are happening on the completed projects. Sales are happening on the projects which are being announced by reputed builders who believe in timely deliverance of a quality product at right prices, at right locations. Sales are happening. I think it is encouraging times. I think the real estate industry definitely is going to bounce back a big way. Maybe 1 or 2 quarters, you can see a phenomenal revival of both residential and commercial segment. And also warehousing is picking up fairly good because e-commerce is picking up quite well. So that is also another segment. I think all the developers are very keen to kind of get into. And Making India concept is also trying to bring in a lot of industrial parks. And also Karnataka brought in an amendment to the Land Reforms Act. 79 AB has been scrapped. Now land is made available. Agriculture land is being made available to individuals and companies to buy. Earlier, that was the impediment. All these things will definitely going to help the real estate industry at large.
So what Mr. Govindaraju is expressing, the sentiments on behalf of the entire sector, that is, budget was disappointing. It was a missed opportunity. If they would have given some incentives, the real estate sector, the demand is there. The demand for residential is huge across India, and that could have been tapped at those times. But still, real estate sector is resilient. It is still moving on. As Mr. Govindaraju said, Q3 was very good for Maharashtra. Other states also, Bengaluru, like Mr. Govindaraju said, sales are picking up. People are interested in buying. Developers are, offering a lot of incentives to the right buyers. We also saw, in recent past, Mr. Govindaraju, REITs have done really well. There have been a lot of interest, not only from the investors, but even the retail investors, the smaller, in terms of the subscription that we have seen. Do you think?
Yeah, recently the Mindspace with the Raheja and the Blackstone was a super success. I believe the retail portion of it was 20 times oversubscribed. That's very interesting. So that also gives the keenness for the people to have a belief and faith in investment, into the REITs,
in real estate.
Real estate. So all these things will definitely help to build up the cash flow into the system, and these new developments will take up Sapna.
Yeah. So do you see this is the way forward for commercial real estate? You have a lot of commercial projects, so do you think this?
Okay. We are building up our portfolio. It's not big enough, for us to get into the REITs and such things. But I strongly feel yes. A real estate industry right now, it is interesting. It's the Blackstones, the GICs, the Brookfields. These are people who are. I was told that Brookfields is slowly coming out with a sizable 3,500 to 4,000 crore of REITs. They're going to announce shortly. I read that recently. I think the way forward will be REITs, to raise money, because the money is available at a cost, which is quite comfortable for the developer to deploy, the money into the new project. Because today the institutions, the cost of money has really gone high. So you have to be, very smartly try to monetize and build up your capital reserves for deployment. Thereby, your margins are also thinning in real estate. So all these factors will help us, to try to, encourage many of the large, real estate developers who are holding sizable portfolio to offer their leased assets or into the REITs, Sapna.
Correct. So very interesting times for real estate, indeed. Coming to the Bengaluru real estate market, how has the Bengaluru real estate market faced the last year challenges of pandemic? What was the experience?
Experience was the quarter 1 and 2 was really, depressing. It was not comfortable to most of the developer. Cash flow was a major issue because of that. Completion of projects was a big challenge because the lot of migration workers, they just moved away from Bangalore. So the construction, works, saw a lot of stress. So no work really happened. More so, developers also were the contractors. They had strong contractors or companies, which believed in new technologies like precast and all. The disruption was limited, but disruption was limited, and companies which had a decent amount of cash flows, they were able to concentrate on the projects and going for early completion. And a lot of developers where the contractors were there, the vendor payments were not made, they saw a lot of disruption in the progress of activity. So deliverance of projects, they were got delayed. And quarter 3, surprisingly, the sales started happening on the projects because developers offered a lot of shops, and surprisingly Q3 and in fact January also saw good sales in Bangalore. Now cash flow is happening right now. Even though top line are being addressed, there is a stress on the bottom line, profitability. Today, all of us should understand one thing. Today, we should complete the projects on time, ensure that the vendors or payments are made properly. Institutional funds, what you have taken in the form of construction finance, should be totally closed out by the time you complete the project, and not worry much this year about profitability. This is my viewpoint, Sapna.
Okay. So yes, Q1, Q2 was difficult. Profitability took a hit, but the recovery was also pretty fast. Especially if we go by reports, southern real estate market has done better recovery and quicker recovery than most other markets. What could be the main reason for that? Is it the confidence of the buyers, or is it the strategies of the developers? What could be the reasons?
Yeah, the first thing is the fund availability made by the financial institutions to the real estate buyers. And today, the EMI has dropped down to around 660 lakh of rupees. This is the lowest, the last, in the history. We had never seen such, kind of low, EMIs. So that encouraged. And again, the developers were extremely aggressive in terms of pricing because they wanted to build up the cash flows to complete the project. So all these factors, kind of encouraged the real estate to recover.
Okay, that's good. In fact, the latest report that we have heard is that 75% of NRIs are interested in, again, southern real estate. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana. So why is this confidence of NRIs as well on southern real estate market?
I think the comfort level of most of the NRIs, they just want to, it's going to be a reverse migration right now. What happened 60s, 70s, 80s, and even early 2000. Now a lot of Indians today, India is a developing economy. The economy is definitely going to boost. Really is going to grow very good. Good job opportunities are there. Most of the Indians feel to come back. So when they're coming back, they definitely would like to have a home for themselves. And this is a very encouraging, factor for the industry, Sapna.
But their preference for southern states, maybe it shows that they are more confident of the real estate market of Karnataka. There, it's more organized as a sector than probably other parts of India.
No. A lot of these the people from the coastal area, they're all working in the Middle East, around UAE. Okay. And most of them are evincing interest to move back. So the Mangalore market is looking to really go high, because there are sizable NRIs from Uttar Karnataka, Canada, who would like to. So I strongly feel Mangalore market is going to do well. Bangalore by itself, it's, captive consumption is sizable. Any kind of an add-on is only going to support the kind of a growth of real estate in Bangalore city. And more so, the plotted development is also kind of picked up quite well in Bangalore. A lot of people are also looking at A category plotted development in good locations. That is also picked up here in Bangalore. Sapna, I just would like to make a mention of that also.
That's interesting. Coming back to Vaishnavi, you have been an early adopter of technologies, I must say, whether it is in sales and marketing or even in technology. And during this COVID period, we have seen how technology is important, and a lot of developers who were still reluctant have realized. What do you have to say about how technology is going to be enabler going forward?
Yeah, it is a nice, interesting thing. See, today as developers, we should look at going forward to newer technologies which is available in across the globe. Today we have partnered with the American company Katerra, who are in design build of precast structures. They give you a total solution. It's a building manufacturing factory. It's a building manufacturing factory. All the elements are all manufactured at their facility near Krishnagiri in Tamil Nadu. All the elements are transported by trailers, and at site, the tower cranes, kind of put them in the respective places, and the quality is impeccable. Even the toilet pods are manufactured at the factory. So the quality is absolutely non-compromising. There are no construction debris. The labor force is reduced by more than 70%. There is a 50% savings in water, and the timely deliverance. In fact, one of our project which Katerra is doing in north part of Bangalore, Yelahanka, we are doing a 1.2 million square feet of comfort luxury homes, called Serene. That particular project, phase 1 and 2, with occupancy certificate, will be ready 18 months ahead of schedule. It's unheard of. We have never heard such a
18
situation.
18 months before schedule.
Yes, unheard in our country. I will go on record to say this: 18 months ahead of schedule, and the entire project will be completed 12 months ahead of schedule. So this is what is. See, initially people had apprehension when we commenced, and the sale velocity was not that encouraging. But I was very confident that this is going to work, and we went on. In fact, post the lockdown was opened up, shutdown was kind of open for the construction activity. Took about 2 weeks for us to build back the supply chain, and the work has progressed so well. We never faced the problem of labor shortage at all. And now, in spite of this, we are completing phase 1 and 2, 18 months. Should definitely make all other developers to have an open mind for technology. We hear, the biggest problem in real estate is, deliverance and quality.
Correct.
If these two things are addressed, and at a nominal additional 8 to 10% additional cost, I think this will give a big relief and confidence for the customer to buy from such a product. And this will be ready for us to showcase by April, May, the phase 1 and 2. And by December, we will be done. And we are launching by this Diwali, a small integrated development of about 2.5 million square feet on the, again, North Bangalore main airport road, wherein we are bringing in 1 million square foot of commercial and about 1.2 million square feet of serene luxury. We are just, sized the apartment a little bigger, and we are with the metro station being housed within the same property. So I'm advancing. I'm taking this to Whitefield now because this is working well. It is proven. Mm-hmm. So I think additional 8 to 10% should not really worry, because there is going to be a humongous saving. 1 year early completion means a big savings in interest cost, operational expenditure. These are all the big savings, which this 8 to 10 will be set off by these savings, direct savings on the things what I made a mention to you, interest and operational expenditure.
Correct. And as you mentioned, the savings in the labor cost and the construction cost and, all the other costs.
Your technical staff, your PMC cost.
Okay. That's great. So that is one advantage, what Mr. Govindaraju is saying. Technology is something that the developers have to adopt. It is not about adopting new technology or becoming modern or getting the modern systems, but it is also about efficiencies in the cost, in the quality, and most importantly, the customer, the delivery to the customer. As going on record, Mr. Govindaraju said 18 months before the scheduled time is I think a record in real estate market itself. Mr. Govindaraju, you wanted to add something.
No, please go ahead.
So you were talking about that when you started with this project, you got this new technology. The customer response was not that encouraging.
Today, in fact, the customer confidence. So some of the customers who are bought, why are you finishing it so fast? They're questioning us now. Okay. But that's a small percentage. But today our referral sales has gone up to 42-44% referral sales. And it's, most of the demographics of the people in the age group of 28 to 40 earning between 15 to 30 lakhs. It's like a picnic spot for them, weekends, they all come to see.
Okay. That's good to hear. So coming to the consumer, you mentioned about the demography and, how they are taking it. What are the consumer trends you are seeing there in real estate market?
I think there are a lot of the first-time home buyers are the maximum percentage of the people who are evincing interest to buy a home. The second time the second home concept is slowly reducing, because people earlier they had a good arbitrage, from the launch to the completion, there was a sizable growth of their money, because that was encouraging them. That segment is going a bit slow. It's all the first-time home buyers. So developers also have to be very conscious right now in terms of selection of the location and the concept, what they really propose. It has to be a customer-centric, trying to enhance the value proposition for the buyer. So buyer is a most important for us. If at all we have to sustain for a long time, we have to ensure their interest is always safeguarded. Sapna.
Okay, so product design as per the consumer demand, that is most important. What developers, because I think that is where most of the developers go wrong. They create something which probably the consumer does not want, and then they have those inventories and they have those problems. But if designing as per the consumer demand, what Mr. Govindaraju said, you will definitely get a lot of interest, because buyers are there, and first time buyers, as you said, who want to postpone. So, Mr. Govindaraju, what is Vaishnavi Group's latest projects? You mentioned one about what is coming up. Any other project that you would like to mention? And what are the strategies that you are working at? What are your marketing strategies, development strategies?
Yeah, we are in all the spaces right now. We are coming with close to about 1.5 million square feet, 1.8 million square feet of office space. 1.8 million square feet. That is going to be the launch shortly. We're coming with a plotted development of about 45 plus 33 plus 20, close to about 100 acres of plotted development. And residential also about 1.5 to 1.8 million square feet. All will be launched from April onwards, Sapna. Also, we have got into warehousing in a small way. We're coming with the 0.7 million square feet on the Old Madras, that is near Hoskote. We are coming with a 0.7 million square feet of this one. Also, we're going to build a hospital in South Bangalore for a very reputed group. That work is also going to commence from April onwards. I think we are quite, comfortable in terms of the volumes And there is going to be a fair number of projects which is being, they're all, at a design stage. Some of them have come for sanction. Some we already have sanctions, and we have a lot of projects lined up for 21, 22, 23, Sapna.
Okay. So quite a busy pipeline of work Vaishnavi Group has. How does year 2021 looks for real estate?
2021, that's what, 2021 is all, we should stay afloat, not worry much about the profitability, ensure that you complete the projects and deliver to the customer in time, and ensure that a quality product is given, ensure that your compliances are not compromised, ensure that your institutional obligation, financial obligations are honored, and stay afloat, and just look for the 21, 22 and the good years to come back.
Which seems encouraging, going by the past record of Q3 and now even the first 2 months. The signs look encouraging, and even economists are saying it's going to be a V-shaped recovery, and for the economy. So yes, for real estate also things look good. Mr. Govindarajan, your advice for the customers, what would be the 3 top advice that you would give to a person, a potential customer or a potential home buyer who's looking at buying now?
Choose to buy from the right developer. Right is a relative word. Let's just not get into that. Let them buy from a right, good, branded developer. Also, stop. They should also keep their expectations practical in terms of pricing. They should also buy at the right price, ensuring that the right developer also makes money in the bargain. So okay, and then ensure that you buy in a right location where infrastructure is in place properly. And try to understand the project fully well before you make a decision to buy a home. These are the
right developer for any potential customer out there. Right developer, right location, price expectations have to be reasonable, and most importantly, understand the project that you're getting into. So these 4 points that Mr. Govindarajan has mentioned for any potential customer. Now, before we let you go, for real estate sector, what are your probably the words for real estate sector for the peers of the industry? You have already mentioned the stay afloat.
Good times are ahead. Yes. Let's all be prepared.
Okay.
And let's keep the expectations of the buyer. We should ensure that we honor them honorably.
Okay, fantastic. So on those positive words that Mr. Govindarajan has just said, let's honor our word. Let's keep our promises to our customers. Thank you, Mr. Govindarajan, for being here with us. Very encouraging words, and I think very inspirational for a lot of people out there, from the examples that you just mentioned, that how if we work with technology, we work with due diligence, we don't see that why cannot we recover pretty fast. So thank you so much, Mr. Govindarajan, for sharing your views.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.